GM Fox fam, sorry for the little bit of a late start here. We've got a lot of people in the audience. I'm not sure if all of you are real or not, or if you're actually here today. What we're actually talking about is the stage to make sure that we don't have any spammers. I know that there are quite a few of you in the audience that are interested to be here about the ShapeShiftDAO POAP process, so we're going to get into that. But this is the best way we have control over robots and people that are here just as part of it. So, wow, what an audience. I just got a DM that I don't think anyone heard what I was saying because lo-fi was too loud, so I'm moving it off right now. Welcome to the POAP class. This was supposed to happen in the voice channel, so we could have some active participation. I've got some things that I'm going to go over, but there's a whole bunch of unknowns, especially when it comes to the POAP art generation, that I was hoping that all of the people that were going to be here together today could collaborate and we could come out with the best way to build a process, or just to maybe a board or somewhere on the Notion where people could connect. Because we'll have people that are making POAPs and we have people that are interested here in generating the artwork for that. So it's figured this is the best place to connect everyone together. So there is a Zoom that I'm going to be sharing my screen from. And yeah, this is a very popular call. I'm not exactly sure how many of y'all are real, and if we just said the magic word and y'all here are because you're farming. We'll see here, because it's going to become very participatory soon. So
actually, the it's cool, man. The influx of people. I had like 40 something people at marketing like training call just now. So surprisingly, those extra like 30 or 40 people that you'll see pour in are real. So yeah, let's
hell
do
yeah.
it.
I hate to assume that you're all robots then, and that you're here for the POAPs. So let's fucking go. Um, I'm going to share my screen in the Zoom. That's where you guys can follow along. That's in the stage chat right now, so you can see um, what I'm up to. Am I allowed to share Discord? There we go. We'll do a little Discord inception here. There is a new channel that you guys aren't all a part of yet, but you will be soon. Once we've kind of had that collaborative process and we identify who's going to be people that are creating these POAPs. So I will say now, if you're someone who's just kind of a spectator here, I'm going to be showing off some commands that you may not be able to get access to. So I'm sorry, but thanks for joining our call anyways. So there's this nice little POAP controller down here at the bottom. And when we're done with this meeting, GK and I will be getting a list of people who we will be adding to this channel so you can interact with this POAP bot. So if for some reason you don't get added through all of this and you feel that you need perms, please DM GK, please DM me, and we will make sure we can get you in here. I've got a nice step-by-step instruction guide here on how to mint your POAP. GK, are you around? Are you here? Is he in the audience? Does someone see GK there? I don't see him. Dang. We need GK to start the POAP, or else we're not going to get a POAP out of this too. Let me see if I can just do it myself. That's what this is all about. So I made a POAP already, and I'm going to start it. GK, you here?
Yep.
Sweet. Can you start the POAP while I continue doing this? I don't want to dig in that email.
Yep.
Sweet. Thank you. So GK is starting the actual end step of this right now. So as long as all of you are in this channel while we do this and you don't leave or deafen, you will get a POAP at the end of this. You'll be able to claim. But I'm also going to use that POAP to walk through the process so everyone can see how you would do this in the future. So inside this POAP controller channel here, there's some pinned messages. There's a video and thread about generating the artwork that I hope people will be able to use and fill out about connecting with people for art. We've got a video that you can watch about doing what GK is kind of doing in the background right now when you start. So if you need a visual guide for starting the POAP bot, you've got that as well. And then you've got my big old step-by-step instruction guide here. So if you ever are lost and you need a reminder on how to make these POAPs, they're all pinned at the top of this channel and they will stay here. So when you're minting a POAP, the first thing we need to know is that you need to have this part of the process done 24 hours before the event. If you try and do this process less than 24 hours before the event, there's a very good chance that you get put into a queue with the POAP generation process and your POAP QR codes aren't minted until after the call happens. And then when you go to try and do the start command, you won't have an event ID, so you will not be able to distribute your POAP, and it will come after the event has already happened. So 24 hours, that means there needs to be some coordination beforehand. We can't do spur of the moment, we need a POAP for tomorrow. If you've got some people that are really good at generating artwork for these things, maybe you can get it to where someone can make artwork and you can do it that 24 hours right beforehand, and that's about as tight as we can get it. I have seen generation of codes take almost that entire 24-hour window. I've seen them come back within a couple hours as well, so it's not that every single one takes 24 hours to be minted, but that window is kind of sporadic and random based on the amount of POAPs that are being made. So we are putting a line that it needs to be 24 before just to make sure that it gets through in time. So if you've got your artwork prepared, you know what your POAP you're making, all the information about your POAP that you're making is, you'll come into this channel, you'll type in /POAP mint, and then you'll run through a series of commands that's going to interact with you. So let me look in the stage chat real quick. I heard a couple of oops. Oh man, this is going to get inception-y. If GK, if there's anything important going on in the stage chat, will you let me know so I can keep sharing the Discord down here? For copies, this is the thing I got into POAP jail yesterday for, because I asked for 500 copies for our POAP, and then they decided to send us 30 instead. So there is a flow for requesting more POAPs that if you accidentally did not mint enough copies for the amount of attendees that you have here. But that is something that we've found that a nice soft window to make sure that you don't get the penalty, but do have more than enough POAPs for all of your attendees right now. With our current audience flow is 150. I would imagine if this is the start of the new ShapeShift DAO and we're going to have a couple hundred people on these calls going forward because we're popular now, we can talk to the POAP team and increase that number, but we probably have to show consumption and distribution of that number of POAPs for a regular time before we would be accredited that higher limit. So right now is 150 is what we're working at, and we can have DM conversations with the POAP team to go higher than that. But that's the number we're working at. If you go lower than 150, you do have a risk of having more attendees than copies. And we can get more. There's a process to request that, but it does take time out of people's days who have not baked in that time to be your POAP retriever. So 150 is the best thing we're working with right now. Number 3 is going to be the name of the event. All of these are fields that you'll just interact with the bot itself inside this POAP controller. It's not a DM, it's just a message between you and a bot that only you can see. But so this next one for the name of the event, this does go out to all of the POAP calendars and is seen much greater than just our ShapeShift Discord. So if you're, say, doing a marketing and growth community call, it's best to put ShapeShift DAO marketing and growth community call in the title of your POAP, because people would just scratch their heads and think that we all got to go to this marketing call for human existence. maybe we want to start doing those too. But really, for the sake of these being used for ShapeShift and what it's been approved for, I've been using ShapeShift DAO at the beginning of every single one of my POAPs. I don't think we need to have a standard that it says that at the very beginning of all of them, but having our name, ShapeShift DAO, somewhere in the title, whether it's an AMA crossover or something like that, is really going to help when we search through the gallery of all of the POAPs in the POAP website so we can see everything that ShapeShift's made. The next one, similarly to the title, this information's out there for everyone, so we want to be a little descriptive about what we're sharing. That includes the subject matter of the call, like maybe a quick summary of what you might be discussing, the location and the time as well. You can say the ShapeShift DAO Discord stage, the general voice channel. I usually share my time with MST there as well. You can share your time in UTC. However you're doing it, just know that this is information that's going to be shared beyond the Discord. So providing context for people who might be exploring and wanting to identify these things and jump into your call from seeing it from the POAP website is a new avenue for us to bring people in. So sharing this information concisely and about the ShapeShift DAO is the best way to do that here with the event in the description. We've got the next couple of sections are if this is a virtual event or not. I know that we have done POAPs by the ShapeShift DAO for physical events, and there may be a slight circumstance in the future in which you will need to do that as a POAP creator. But for now, almost all of these are virtual, so you will just
virtuals, but you wouldn't use the bot at all. You can actually do it on their website. Then there's a method for that.
Interesting. Well,
and it's like in-person stuff like that. You could do that separately, differently, or if you have the contract addresses. We've done one of those at least that was actually using with the tokamak vote. We actually sent it directly to each one of those. And as far as I know, you can still get that if you haven't gotten it. You just go to their website and their delivery system has it listed under ShapeShift, and you click on it and see if you qualify.
Interesting. Cool. Well, I guess there are some manual ways for claiming that I'm unfamiliar with. I've only done virtual. But if you are in the circumstance that you've done something that's with a specific contract or with a physical event, reach out to GK, reach out to myself, and we will set you up through the process to make sure you're doing it right. We probably just want to give you a little more than that 24-hour window to make sure that we do it correctly.
Yeah, those are more like a week.
Yeah.
Minimum.
But this one normally is just a yes/no question. So if you are just doing something for an AMA or one of your community calls, this would just be a yes. City and country, because we're virtual and you can be anywhere, we just use the skip function. Unless you're doing one of those physical things, you can enter that information. The event start is UTC time, what the day is. If you are in a unique time zone that's difficult with your day versus UTC, make sure to check in on that and make sure you're not accidentally putting the POAP a day before or a day afterwards. And then the event end is the last day that a user who's been in attendance for and who's eligible for this POAP can claim it. So right now we kind of arbitrarily picked 3 months. There are services like Sushi out there, they do theirs to a year. Previously, we were only doing 1 month windows, and we've stretched it a little bit to 3 months. I feel like this one we can kind of get feedback.
Yeah, right now we've been doing the 1 month, but the Sushi, they were actually using a different bot and doing 12, so I don't know if it'll work for this one or not. I'm hoping the 3 month will work okay. I think that's the best number.
So these are all things that are still in flux as well, as you can see. And then now we get to the juicy stuff. This is where you'll upload your artwork here. It needs to be under 5 megabytes. I've seen a hiccup in this process sometimes if you accidentally hit a key or enter instead of uploading the APNG here. It will cancel and boot the process. Well, it'll ask you to upload the artwork again, but it has kind of canceled the flow of you communicating with that DM, so you will not be able to start that communication anymore, and you'll have to start the flow all over again. I actually did it this morning. So if you, for some reason, go to upload your APNG and it just uploads the image itself to this channel, instead of continuing on to the next step, you'll know that's what's happened, and you'll have to start the process over again. After you've uploaded your artwork, it'll ask you for an email. We have one email that has been approved through the POAP process with this bot specifically for their anti-farming measures. If you enter your own personal email here to try and get your disbursement out, it will not be approved. It will not work. If you, this POAP at FoxDAO login has been shared with myself, GK, and all of the workstream leaders. So if you need to get access to this, you can communicate with your workstream leader and they can help you get any of the information you need out of this email. But the big thing that you would get from this is after you've generated your artwork and you've confirmed all of the details, which is the next step here, that POAP and all of the QR codes will be sent to this email, and included in that is the event ID. POAP issues its own unique event ID for each new POAP that's created. And that is the thing that you will need when you interact with the bot later. I did realize there's one step that I didn't document that I'll have to go back up and update in this when we're not on the call. And they do ask for a unique code. This is the code that's used if we ever need to generate more copies of this or edits the POAP beforehand. Let's say you didn't do the description right and you'd like to update it because you made this a week beforehand. If we've got the edit code, we can go and request changes or edits or more copies. It's a 6-digit code, and they recommend just using something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because this is something that we've got many people using and having hands and access to, I've been using a date system, and we can use some sort of thing that doesn't need to be shared with 118 people on a call right now. But once we get everyone who will be using this, we can come up with a way to share these codes easily, and maybe that'll be a collaborative effort that we'll have with the last couple minutes we have at this call. So that's all you need to do to mint your POAP. At that point, really, there's no more work to be done until the day of your event. When you're at the day of your event, you'll come back into this channel, or you will request someone who has access to this channel to do so. Let's say you're leading the call and you need someone like myself or GK to trigger the bot for you. We are happy to do so with proper notice. And so you or the person doing it will come into this channel. You will do POAP start instead of POAP mint. And you will type in that event ID to tell the POAP bot which event you will be associating to which voice channel. And you will have a drop down that will show up, and it's got every single voice channel that's listed in Discord, and it's got like a hotkey number associated with it. The stage chat is usually 55. Sometimes these numbers change. You will need to pick the voice channel that you are assigning the bot to be listening into on for the POAP eligibility, and you will type in that number there. And then at that point, the bot starts monitoring who's inside that channel. And if you stay inside that channel for 15 minutes and you do not deafen yourself, then that person should be eligible for a POAP going forward. We have seen some kind of inconsistencies with people leaving and coming back and still not being eligible, or deafening and staying and still not being eligible. So we've got some testing to do to find out if you're automatically disqualified if you perform one of those actions while you are inside here. But we'll keep you updated as we identify those rules. And then when your call has ended, coming back to this channel and hitting the POAP end command stops the timer and starts the eligibility for people to go into the Claim Your POAP Here channel. And they're just using, anyone can do this. They don't have to have the perms for this channel. They can go to that channel and do POAP claim, and they will receive their POAP. I didn't leave much time for us coordinating. And I apologize for that. I'm gonna stop my share now. But that is the process. There's some videos on starting and stopping. There's some videos on the Figma tool that Gray Machine made a really nice instructional video on how to make artwork. There is, thanks for that question, Shocks. There is an event ID required at the POAP end command, and it's the same one there, so you can tell the bot to stop. We can mint POAPs more than the 24 hours in advance. You can do them as early as you'd like. So if you've got the artwork ready for it and you know what you're doing, we can get this thing queued up so we have our month's worth of POAPs ready to go beforehand. I was hoping that in the voice channel, everyone could just kind of unmute themselves and hop up on here, and we could start having a conversation around art generation and things like that. And we could identify from this conversation the people who we should be giving this role to. I know that Irina and Shocks have both been working with me to make POAPs. I know Gray Machine has been working to make POAPs, but I've also had a lot of interest from people who are in this call now that might have an interest in either generating art or helping a work stream in some of this process. And so I'd love now to either have people raise their hands to come on stage if you're a real folk, or use the ShapeShift DAO stage chat we've got right now to identify your talents and how you might be connected in here. We can do our best to collate all of this inside our Notion moving forward, so there's a centralized repo for people to communicate all of these things and coordinate. How does that sound? I'm trying to bring Arena up.
She has the request. She has to bring herself up.
There we
There
go.
she goes.
Hey, Arena GM.
Hey, GM. Sorry about that. Just accepted. Thank you for this call, Tyler. That was really, really helpful. So it's a bit more simple than I thought. Thank God for that. So I'm happy to take the lead on this in terms of the generation of artwork, because I have access to various graphic designers and contributors who would be happy to assist with that. Just in terms of messaging in that channel and activating the bot, I think it would make sense for somebody to do it in the similar time zone as most of our calls, because a lot of the calls that happen right now are nighttime for me, so I think that would be difficult. So I'm happy to take care of the artwork, but just the the whole thing with the bot, hopefully somebody else can help out with that.
Sorry, I was muted. One of the things from my previous experience that I've found too is that this DAO, when it's churning completely with all the POAPs that all of the work streams would like to make, it might be a lot of work for just one person and could be like almost a full-time job. So I would love I definitely think Irina probably as a point person for this would be super awesome, and happy to have all of those art conversations directed at you first. But if this blows out into something that's needs to be bigger or more collaborative with other work streams, I'd love to make sure that we have some fail safes on people who can make these, as well as people who know how to trigger this bot and send them out. And I've got a raised hand from Shocks too. Let's bring you up. Invite sent, Shocks. I think you need to accept it to speak.
Tyler, do you think we how many POAPs do we need, like, per week? We don't need them for every single call, right? It's mainly for like governance calls, AMAs, and stuff like that.
Yeah, good question. I think that it's all relative, as you can see from this call right now, attaching the word POAP to things does bring in some more people. Assessing the quality of that is something we'll have to navigate in the future, and how we want those. I personally will be doing one for governance calls every week. I believe that the op sprints every week are deserving, and I definitely think all of our AMAs should. I think at the point of community calls and weekly scheduled calls, I would leave the decision up to the hosts or the workstream leaders there. But I definitely
Yep.
think that there's a future where we have 10, 12 POAPs being generated a week successfully without us being overwhelmed by farmers. But who knows? Hey,
Okay,
Grim.
yeah, that's a great machine.
Hey, I got invited up. I don't know why, but I'll sit over here in the corner.
Randomly sending out invites to people. I've got David asked to come up on stage as well too. Looks like we're also running very close to out of time. I only time box this for 30 minutes. We can continue the conversation. I have to run off to another meeting, but I know that I was really only focused on the protocol of generating these, and there's a whole separate conversation around coordinating the creative side. So it seems like we've got those folks here too, and I'd love to let you guys continue that conversation after I leave. David, trying to send you a request. Irina, did you have anything else you wanted to share on that?
No, that sounds good. I think we just need to work out logistically how this is going to work. Yeah, like who's going to be responsible for what, and I think that chat we can have maybe in the general chat, and yeah, just discuss the logistics behind it.
Sounds great. And I got David up here now as well. Jam, David.
It's weird because it didn't say I was up and then I'm there. So that's good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm intrigued by the notion of this process, and kind of want to see it be as open as possible to any kind of meetings going on. And I know that's going to need to create some organization, but if that's going to be done in general, that's great. But as long as there's one place we can go to see what's going on, that would be super.
Yeah, I definitely love the idea of this being a collaborative effort. I definitely think that the POAP drives a lot of interest and potential contributors in a way that some of our other offerings and services and bounties don't. So I'd love to capitalize on that. And with that, I've got to run off, but I don't want to end this conversation in case there's more to be discussed. I can just no longer host here. So I'm going to give you all a good GM, and I hope that you guys come up with some great information, and I will connect back with GK Arena to